Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my mini art talks. So good to have you here with me again. We had quite a storm in New Jersey yesterday, but we only lost power for 6 hours, so I'm very, very grateful for that. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a very interesting series of 4 paintings by Thomas Cole called The Voyage of Life. They represent an allegory of the 4 stages of human life, and they're all set within the 4 seasons. Now, the paintings are childhood, and it's depicted in spring, of course. And then there's youth, which is depicted in the summer. We have manhood depicted in the autumn, and then old age, which of course would be depicted in the winter. Now, each painting features a voyager who is traveling in a boat along the river of life, and that runs through this awe-inspiring landscape of the American wilderness. And in each painting, the voyager rides in the boat or near the boat with his guardian angel. So we're going to see what that looks like in each one of these. But first, I want to talk a little bit about Thomas Cole. He was born in 1801 in England, but his family emigrated to the United States when he was still a teenager. And he is not only regarded as an American, but he is also regarded as the founder of the Hudson River School, which was an American art movement that flourished from about 1825 until about 1870. Now, they had all the Hudson River paintings had differences, but they had a lot of things in common as well. They were all very, very realistic in terms of their detail. And they were also all very, very romantic in their portrayal of nature. You usually would have these huge, stunning vistas of the American landscape. And these evinced a real national pride that was within all of these painters. They really wanted to celebrate the unique beauty of the United States of America. They felt, well, Europe had all these wonderful ruins of antiquity and all of that was very interesting, but it was only in America that you had this sublime and uncharted wilderness that they wanted to celebrate. Now, the Hudson River painters also saw nature as a refuge for what might be called the ugly materialism of the cities, of urbanity, but also they saw nature as God's work, and that this was an allegory, particularly in these 4 paintings for Thomas Cole, an allegory for his religious faith, celebrating God's work on earth. Now, these 4 paintings were originally done on a commission for a very wealthy New York banker named Samuel Ward, but unfortunately he died before they were completed. And then his children did not want, they liked the paintings very much, but they did not want them published. They did not, exhibited publicly. And this was, Cole was very upset about this because he knew that these paintings would be very well received and it would make his reputation. So he was really not happy, but he had no choice because he had received a commission from the Ward family. So he goes to Rome to pursue other things. And while he's there in 1842, he decides he's going to paint them again, another version of them. They're almost exactly the same, but not quite. So he did a second set of the series, and then on his return to America, they were in fact, just as he knew they would be, they were shown to great acclaim. Now, that very first set of the 4 paintings is at the Munson Williams Proctor Arts Institute in Utica, New York, that I had never heard of, but I went over to their website and they do have some wonderful collections, so lucky people in upstate New York. And then the second set is at the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. So now let's take a look at each individual one of these works. The first one, as I said, is The Voyage of Life, Childhood. And what do we have here? Well, you've got the boat, this boat, and it is emerging from this dark cave. And gee, I wonder what that might represent. And inside and around the boat, of course, is that wonderful landscape that I'm talking to you about, this gorgeous vista. Everything is green and lush and beautiful. And then let's take a little bit of a closer look at the boat. Here you have it's childhood. So here's the child, and he is got his guardian angel right there with him in the boat. And in fact, the guardian angel has her hand on the rudder. She's steering the boat through childhood. And then in the front of the boat, you have the figurehead, a beautiful angel, and she is holding an hourglass, and the hourglass is totally full because it's childhood and very little time has elapsed. And look at that baby. He's opening up his arms. He's welcoming himself into life and looking forward to this wonderful life that is ahead of him. Now, the second painting is youth. And youth then is not the way in the 19th century, early 19th century, is not the way we thought of it as a very young child, but youths were, could be up until teenagerhood and even young 20s. And then we see the youth here in the boat and going along that beautiful placid river. The river is still placid in youth, and he's pointing his way to this gorgeous castle in the sky. His dreams, every one of his dreams will be fulfilled. And then if we get a little closer, we can see his guardian angel now is not in the boat with him because he's a youth and he can steer the boat himself. His hand is on the rudder. He's steering the boat, but the angel is fairly close by, still protecting, still guiding. And then the figurehead is still there in the front of the boat, but there is a little bit of time has elapsed out of that beautiful hourglass that she has. Now let's look at what happens in manhood. Well, things change a lot for you in manhood. The river gets bumpy. Things happen. You used to say to your kids, you think you have problems. Wait till you have to start paying bills. Wait till you have to start dealing with this, that, and the other thing. Well, that's kind of what Thomas Cole is showing us here. The river is, the rapids are ahead of him, and the sky is dark, and look at the trees. There's no vegetation on the trees, and look at where the guardian angel is all the way up in heaven, still watching, still kind of protecting, but the man, let me get a little bit closer, the rudder has kind of disappeared. He certainly isn't controlling what's happening as he heads for those rapids. And look at his posture here. He has to now rely on prayer and his religious faith to sustain him through all these rough waters. And then look at those rough waters. Goodness knows what's ahead. We just can't project what is going to be ahead. But our pilgrim makes his way through to calm waters again, the calm waters of old age. And look at what we see here. The guardian angel has come back down toward him, but is pointing up to another area here. And then there's also up there. So she is leading him now. She's guiding him to heaven across those waters of eternity. Showing that his life has really been a pilgrimage to this moment. And here we see there's absolutely no rudder anymore. There's no figurehead is gone. All of the sand has gone out of the hourglass, and our hero is on the way to his just reward. And this was what Thomas Cole was telling us. Now the paint, and here we can see even a little bit closer. Again, no rudder, no figurehead, but the angel is there and she's guiding him. And he looks almost as if he's saying, I'm ready, please take me with you. Now the painting is at the National Gallery of Art in Washington, and it's kind of it is in a room by itself. It's almost a circular room you can see here. And here, this is childhood, and over here is youth. So you kind of can walk around the room and kind of go on that journey with Thomas Cole. So I hope that you've enjoyed a look at the Hudson River School, a little mini look, and at Thomas Cole, and that when things get better and we can go to museums again, you can go to the National Gallery of Art, which I understand is partially open now. You can go. I'm not sure if you can go and see the Voyage of Life, but you can go back in Washington. But I urge you, when you do have the opportunity, to get to this wonderful free museum, free because we taxpayers pay for it. And I would just want to remind you again, if you are on Facebook, you can put Janet Mandel Art Talks in the bar there and join me there, where I post all kinds of things about what's happening in the art world, and sometimes some funny cartoons and things like that that have art as their theme. And then also, I have a YouTube channel where I post these videos, and I'd love for you to subscribe. You can go there to put Janet Cohen Mandel channel into the search bar and look for my logo. And please, once you're there, subscribe and hit the bell next to the subscription button, and then you will get email notifications when I put up a new one. And then also, I'm on Instagram, Art Talks with Janet, and my August schedule for my longer art talks is now up on my website. So again, if you just put Janet Mandel Art Talks into Google and look for my logo, and go to my website and then go to the schedule page, and you can find, I have 5 talks so far scheduled in August, and they're all free. And also, if you go to the description page, I can tell you a little bit about what each talk is going to be about. So thanks again for joining me, and I hope you come back and visit with me for another mini art talk. Bye-bye. Stay safe, everybody.